What's going on, golf addicts? Welcome to the Muirfield Village golf course breakdown video. Everything you need to know, nothing you don't. I'm DB, Tour Junkies. I'm going to show you my screen. We're going to talk through what we saw last year. We're going to talk through the key stats and trends of the last 3 years since the renovation at Muirfield Village, the host site of the Memorial Tournament, Jack Nicklaus's event. It's a signature event, big time names, big field. We're going to talk through the key stats. I'm going to open up, share my screen, and show you the custom model that I've already built based off of what our friends at Bet the Number have already shared with us about Muirfield Village. It's going to be a good one. Can't wait. Big week, big event. You got the US Open next week. This is going to just, like I said, be everything you need to know. And I'm going to throw out all the extra stuff because there's a bunch of stuff that people fill your head with that you don't need to know and doesn't matter when it comes to handicapping this golf tournament. So let's just go over some basics. Like I said, Muirfield Village in Dublin, Ohio. It's a par 72, playing around 7,500. Water comes in play on around 11 holes. Bent grass fairways, bent grass, pure greens. We're going to talk about those greens here in a minute. I'm going to open up and show you some of the last trends that we've seen on the golf course since the renovation, like I said, that took place after 2020. So the last 3 years, we've seen it freshly renovated. Last year, Victor Hovland was your winner at 7 under, around 20-1. Before that, Billy Horschel and Patrick Cantlay both won at 13 under since the renovation. I do remember, I think it was 2021 was pretty wet. They had lift clean in place. And I think Cantlay outran a lot of the field. So not many people have taken it to double digits here at Muirfield Village. That's what Jack wanted to do when he redesigned it. He wanted to make it tougher, and he wanted to make it tougher throughout. Horschel won at around 60-1, Cantlay around 22. John Rahm's won here before. Cantlay's actually won here twice. Bryson won here back in 2018. It's kind of a ball striker's spot, right? It's a signature event. I do believe this one does have a cut after round 2. It's one of those weird, if it's named after a big time player like Tiger's event at the Genesis or the Bay Hill or this, it does have a weird cut where like maybe 4 guys could miss the cut or maybe 20. We don't know because it is a limited field. Like I said, Jack made it tougher. He made it tighter. He made it more penal all the way around. He typically likes golf courses to test you throughout the bag and and he likes the faders, the guys that work left to right. If you're a right-hander, you got to take advantage of the par fives here. That's pretty crucial. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let me share my screen and let's look at the golf course, what we find here on Bet the Number. So this is the course page on Bet the Number, and I've got it filtered to just the last 3 years since the post renovation. And here are your averages in these key buckets over the last 3 years. You can kind of take a look at that. You've got your past performers, your winners, how they got there in terms of the top strokes gained buckets. You could see that here. And then if I wanted to expand that out to the top 5, you can kind of get an idea for where guys that finished in the top 5 really made their hay. A lot of it's an approach. Jack, second shot golf course kind of designer. You got the Bomber's Paradise calculation here, the bomb opportunity, which Patrick Cantlay definitely took advantage of, being a good total driver of the golf ball. This is going to be key. We're going to talk about this here in a second. But anyway, this is a great little snapshot here for Bet the Number. So let's talk about off the tee first. Fairways, they're kind of average. They're like 32 yards on average. They're not really narrow. They're not super wide. Since the renovation, and over the last 3 years, you've seen an average of 62.7% fairway number. That's around 8.8 per round for the field. But that's the thing, man. This right here, the rough penalty, this right here is why guys are going to do everything they can to find the fairway. That's a big deal. You got to be in the fairway to play Muirfield Village, or you're going to pay a hefty price. So you don't have to be a bomber. I don't think. I mean, we've seen, we've seen guys who aren't bombers like Billy Horschel obviously play well since the post renovation, weather dependent to some extent, I guess. But you just got to be in the dadgum fairway, and from there it's on. So that's going to be important. So let's talk about your approach shots. They are smaller greens, and again, it's Jack demanding this second shot golf course. Smaller greens with some undulation, very pure, very fast. The green and regulation percentage since the renovation, you can see, is around 55.7%. So that's around 10 greens and reg per round. Distance control, leaving yourself in the proper spots is going to be key. Just hitting greens in general at a higher clip than the average is going to help you stand out. And from your approach buckets, if we go back to that, it's a pretty even distribution, I guess. But most people are going to target the mid and long iron buckets, but I think you can't sleep on about 4.5 shots per round coming from this like 100 to 150 range. I think that's important. So, and hopefully from the fairway. So again, Jack wants to test you through the bag. You're going to see here in the model how I kind of have things broken down in just a second. Now let's talk about around the green play. Now, if we go down here to the bottom left, we can see around the green distribution. That's really what I want to focus on. And you're missing an average of 8 greens. You better bring your short game. And Jack has made it difficult with thick rough and a lot of bunkering. The bunkers being pretty brutal here. There's a lot of them. They're deep. They protect these greens. Guys have about 2.5 shots per round from the bunker and about 4.8 or nearly 5 from the thick rough since 2021. Take note of that because I'm going to show you something about that in the model as well. Putting is kind of the last thing out. Like these things are pure bent grass. They do what they look like they're going to do. They're not super big, like I said. So lag putting not going to come into play very much. They're just fast and pure. I mean, in terms of the surface, we hear guys say things like second to Augusta National. They're kind of the purest greens that these guys play on all year, that's saying something. So let's take a look at the Memorial from last year. Just a quick snapshot here to see what happened last year, so we can remember that. Victor Hovland beat Denny McCarthy. God, Denny almost got it done. Denny seems to love this place. Denny and Victor both got it to 7 under. Scotty Scheffler at 6. Si Woo at 5. Spieth and Andrew Putnam round out your top 5. I mean, Denny, Si Woo, Andrew Putnam do not hit it far. Okay. By the way, if you're looking at these numbers, these are the previous 24 rounds coming into the tournament where these guys stood out. This is their previous 5 tournaments from 2023, and then this was their course history going into last year. It's a really good thing you can do here on Bet the Number. If you go to the tournament page and you change the year and then you just select the tournament, you can kind of get a good snapshot of what guys looked like coming into the golf tournament, where they finished. The cut line, I believe, was 3 over, and it was a more full field. I think it was 120 invitational status. Not this terrible signature event BS, but you can kind of just get a snapshot of what guys are doing. I highly recommend doing that on Bet the Number. I think it's a missing piece to some of your early research process. Now, speaking of Bet the Number, click the link in the description, sign up with code TJ to get $5 off your monthly subscription or $50 off your annual subscription. If you are a paying member of the Tour Junkies Discord, you can still DM myself or Pat. I would recommend DMing me and just be like, yo, I need the big bad hookup for Bet the Number because I'm a paying Discord member, and I will give you the biggest discount available to anyone anywhere on planet Earth. Even like Bet the Number's parents don't get this kind of discount. It is the biggest discount available, but you got to be a paying member of the Tour Junkies Discord. So hit me up. If not, click the link, use code TJ, scan the QR code if you're watching here on YouTube, and get involved. Nobody does it better than these guys, and they have somebody on site every single week walking these golf courses, and they have been walking these golf courses for years, working with the PGA Tour players, working with the Ryder Cup team, data team. The folks behind the scenes at Bet the Number are super, super sharp, and they build their own model every week that you can work off of if you don't even want to do that. If you just want to say, I just need to know who to play, well, guess what? You can just join Bet the Number and just look at their model and go off of that. Okay, I build my own because I'm a nerd and I'm a weirdo with this stuff, but you don't have to do that. Okay, so check them out. All right. Speaking of that, let's get into the model here. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything on the golf course. I don't think I did. So let me show you the model for now. Where we at? Custom model. There we go. Bang. Now I am just going to show you. I've only got I've got these favorites selected, and it doesn't mean I actually am going to play these guys just necessarily, but it just means they're names that are interesting, or I'm seeing some things in the data. I do this every time I do a course breakdown video, like just something to look at, a talking point. We're not going to talk about all of them, but it is just something to kind of keep an eye on here. Why is what is going on with my screen? Okay, there we go. Sorry, had a brief malfunction. Okay, so off the tee, last 30 rounds. Approach overall, last 30. Went a little bit longer, zoomed out a little bit more with these 2 approach buckets. And this is not proximity. This is strokes gained from the tee and from the fairway and from the rough in this category. Now, I was tipped off on that stat with Bet the Numbers model. If you want to look at Bet the Numbers model, all you have to do is click the drop down and you'll see your own models first. But then as you scroll, Bet the Number does a model for every tournament. So I could click here and see what the folks behind the scenes say. And that was interesting to me. So I copied that. Now I made some other changes of my own. Um, this is this column here. I left it 0%, so I need to change that because it's not showing me anything. So disregard that. But these are the two approach buckets I'm looking at strokes gain wise. And then this was interesting too. This was also in the Bet the Number model. You know, not many sites can do this. Strokes gained around the green from only the bunker and thick rough, because there's not a whole lot of like short grass fairway chipping at Muirfield. There's just not. Let me zoom in a little bit on this so maybe so you guys can see this a little better. Yeah, there's just not, you know, the rough and the bunker play matters. Now, I think I zoomed out pretty good on this too. I think it's like last 50 or 70 or so, just to kind of get a larger sample size of who does well out of the rough and out of the bunkers. Strokes gain last 30 putting. This is, I labeled it no bogeys, but it's bogey avoidance for me. Tough golf course, can play like a major championship at times, as you saw 7 under winning last year, 13 under the 2 previous years. Like it can play like a PGA or US Open to an extent. So I like the bogey avoidance number. But par 5 scoring also I added, just because that's where you got to make your birdies here. You really got to do that. You know, the short skin off the tee thing, like that's where Cantlay really thrived, because if you're hitting driver, like if Ludwig's healthy, that's why I kind of starred him, because we knew about this knee injury, I think it was, leading into the PGA, waiting to see what happened. He ends up missing the cut. But like somebody who's, and when Cantlay was peaking, not now, but when Cantlay was peaking, like just dead straight on a string with the driver off the tee, but you know, could also hit it 315. And that is going to be, I mean, that's beneficial everywhere, but it's going to really separate you here if you can avoid the rough, because again, the rough penalty is serious. So that's going to matter a good bit. You know, Wyndham Clark, man, like what's happening with him? Like he's checking boxes, but he's kind of dropped off a little bit. Played well here last year to T12. Sahith just missed the cut here at Canada. Now, if you're watching this after the RBC Canadian Open, you're like, wait a minute, Mackenzie Hughes didn't finish runner-up. This is because I'm recording this on Saturday night after the conclusion of round 3, and this is where these guys stand as of now. All this data is being pulled in directly from the PGA Tour, from the API connection with Bet the Number and the PGA Tour. They have a deal with the PGA Tour, so you know the data is good. So it will update as the tournament finishes tomorrow on Sunday. But if you're watching this after and you run your own model, you'll obviously see accurate Canadian Open finishes. But Sahith misses the cut, you know, big time chalk miss there. I thought Justin Thomas was interesting. Like he kind of ranks highly in my model after the T8 at the PGA. Hoagie's another one. Like, remember Hoagie ranked highly for everybody at the Charles Schwab for Colonial, and it's like he had horrible course history at Colonial too, but he's just been playing so well, and he finishes T17, which I think is solid. He's got a bad record here, but he continues to just hit the ball really, really well. I mean, his approach play has been fantastic really all year with very little miss. So, you know, I don't know. Hoagie's interesting to me. I'm not sold that Willie Z is 100% healthy or 100% back at the moment. I'll probably avoid him. Siwoo is fascinating though, huh, boys? I mean, look at this record here. He loves him some Muirfield Village. Doesn't miss a lot of fairways. The irons have been clicking. Putting is terrible. But at a 7 under kind of tournament, you don't have to make everything under the sun. I like that for Siwoo. He'll be interesting. But will the course history make him chalk in DFS? Will it steam his number when odds drop on Monday? I don't know. Cam Young I don't know, man. Cam Young, that guy, maybe he's just not good. I don't know. I can't figure the guy out. I mean, I know he finished runner up at the Valspar T9 at the Masters. Guy's good. I'm just saying, like, what are we doing? You know, Fleetwood's having a great Canadian Open. Maybe he wins it. I don't know. You tell me, or I guess I'll find out tomorrow. Fitzpatrick has a couple good finishes here, but hasn't had a great year. Really just kind of been everywhere, I'd say, for Matt Fitzpatrick. Mackenzie Hughes is doing his Mackenzie Hughes normal thing. You know, Muirfield feels like a place Morikawa should absolutely dominate. And he is playing exceptional right now. So I do think Morikawa is intriguing. It's interesting that that long iron bucket he's not really doing great in, but I still like it. Sepp Straka loves him, a tough golf course. It'll be interesting to see where he's at. Past champion Billy Ho, not really checking a ton of boxes, but we know he's not going to, he can definitely hit plenty of fairways when he's on. That's good. And he is playing well. He's figuring it out right now. He's making putts. He's figuring it out. What is Jordan Spieth doing? God knows. None of us know. I mean, guys, unbelievable off the tee. All of a sudden, now he can't hit an iron shot. He can't chip. He can't putt. It's just the weirdest thing ever. Who knows? Cantlay seems broken as well. Maybe it's all the drama with the player stuff and the PIF. I don't know. But, I mean, look at this guy's strokes gain record at Muirfield Village. My Lord. That is juicy. So we'll see what happens with Cantlay. Might get a good number on old Patrick Cantlay. If Denny's chalk, I'm out. I'm usually out on Denny anyway. So I really probably won't be messing around with that. You got Lee Hodges playing well right now. T12 here last year. Max Homa, kind of sus. This is the week before major. You got to figure out where you're at, Max. We got to tune it up. You know what I mean? Let's tune it up and do it. I think Max could definitely win at Muirfield Village if he's playing his best. But is he playing his best right now? I don't know. I tell you what, Tom Kim's starting to kind of buck his head again, though. I mean, the kid's kind of rattling on. He's just kind of hanging in there. He's battling. 11th in Canada right now. Not going to miss a ton of fairways. Irons are not great, but he's getting it around the greens. Ricky Fowler was the other one I wanted to look at just because of the course record at Muirfield in the last few years with 3 top 15 finishes and starting to at least, like, I don't know. I mean, he's making cuts. He's not doing much else, but he's making cuts for what it's worth. Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of just a high level walkthrough of where my model is right now. I'm not going to show you the weightings. I'm not going to give all the sauce, but I do have obviously different weightings here, and you can definitely go and check out our friends at Bet the Number. Go see where they have things, weighted. We know Muirfield Village. We know Jack. We know what he wants. This is going to be a tough golf course, tough golf tournament. I haven't looked at the weather yet. Probably start digging into that tomorrow. See how the golf course is going to play. It's wet, firm, and fast. What we're going to do there in Dublin, Ohio. But we got a strong 3 weeks coming. You got Muirfield signature event at Memorial. You got the U.S. Open, and then you got TPC River Highlands for the Travelers, also a signature event. Tons of content coming out of Tour Junkies. Check out our friends at Bet the Number. This has been everything you need to know and nothing you don't. Don't add stuff you shouldn't add. Don't overcomplicate this, okay, folks? Let's not do it. Let's just not. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Our friends at Bet the Number will help you not overcomplicate it. But also, they know how to handicap golf courses and they know how to evaluate players. So we're trying to learn from them. We're trying to get it done. Hopefully, you're using the product and enjoying it. Let's have a great week. May your screens be green and bend over your bookie. See ya.